Well, good afternoon, Center Hope. You've got me out here again on a Friday afternoon. As y'all know, it's been a pretty warm day so far, and this week's been pretty hot. So here's hoping to cool us down on the weekend. Well, let's jump into this today. I wanted to talk to you about something that I've been thinking about a little bit. We all know that when you hear something, you don't always hear what's being said, and that's really odd to say, I know, and I know you're not expecting this at all, but let me tell you a story. Remember one day, my wife yelled to me. She said, we're almost out of toilet paper. So I said, okay, thanks for letting me know. Well, later on that day, she happens to say it to me again. She says, Dean, we're almost out of toilet paper. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you know what? I heard you the first time. Don't really need to hear you say it again, but thanks for letting me know. Well, the next day, she walks up to me holding a empty tube of toilet paper and quite angrily. And I'm looking at her going, why are you mad at me? I have no idea what the problem is here. Now, right about now, I'm going to venture a guess that every woman that's watching this has already guessed what the problem was. And every guy might have figured it out by now. But what she said and what she meant were two very different things. She said, we're almost out of toilet paper. What she meant was, hey, dummy, go get more toilet paper. All I heard was, we're almost out of toilet paper, and it was a fact. Thanks for letting me know. So what's said and what is meant don't always line up with what's going on. See, I learned that just because you say something doesn't mean your meaning is always going to get across. And I also learned that there are two very fundamental things that are different between men and women when it comes to their brains. See, men, we like to put things in boxes, compartmentalize, if that's the word. See, we hear something, it goes into a box. I got a box for my garage, I got a box for work, I got a box for home, I got a box for my habits, all those things. You tell me something, my brain stores it in a box. If you ask me to get something, my brain goes to that box, pulls that information out, and once I'm done with that information, it's back in that box. I think about one thing, I do that thing, I'm done with that thing. It's done. So men's brains, boxes. Women's brains, a plate of spaghetti. Follow me on this. A woman can be thinking of 100 different things all at the same time and try to do 100 different things all at the same time. Now, I'm not saying either way is right or wrong or better than the other. They're just very different. This is why often my wife will say to me, what are you thinking? And I'll say to her, nothing. And I can pretty well hear every man's who's watching this, their heads go, yep, I know that feeling. And yet she'll look at me and go, how can you be thinking of nothing? Well, I'm just not thinking of anything at the time. In fact, that's my favorite box, and I think that's most guys' favorite box. We love going to the nothing box. If everything's all said and done, we'll open that nothing box every time and just sit there and enjoy peace. My wife, she can't understand that, so it frustrates her a little bit when I say I'm doing thinking nothing, and she just doesn't get that. But that's the way we are. We can think of nothing. Our brains are different in that aspect. So you know what? That got me thinking. How is it that when we start to think about what God has to say to us, sometimes we think we know exactly what he's talking about and we've got it all nailed down? Well, no. We couldn't possibly have everything all nailed down that God was trying to say to us, because he could be saying something but meaning something different, or meaning exactly what he's saying and something different. We're talking about the guy who knows all of our plans. He understands everything. He walked on water. He needed to pay taxes, so how did he do this? He told one of his disciples to go open a fish's mouth and pull out the coin that was sitting in there to pay his taxes. That's not normal. This is not normal behavior for anybody. I wish it was that easy. I'd be down at the coast all the time trying to look for money. But this is not normal behavior. He raises people from the dead, and he himself raised from the dead. He wouldn't even stay dead and play by the rules in that aspect. So how is it that we can possibly think that we know everything that God has for us, or know exactly what he's saying, and put him nice and neatly into a box and think that's just another box we're going to go to, open it up when we need it, and we know exactly where he is and what he's doing and what he's thinking. I don't think it works that way, guys. So when you take a look at what's going on around us, we're trying to make sense of this pandemic. We're trying to make sense of all these things going on in our lives, and we are not going to be able to do it. As much as we want to, we can't do it. And this is an answer that some people are probably not going to be too keen on hearing, but sometimes, my friends, we just have to trust and have faith that he knows what he's doing. He's never steered us wrong before. He's always been there when we needed him. At least I can say that in my life anyway, and I hope that's the same for you guys. He has never steered me wrong, and he's always been there when I needed him. So why would I suddenly think this is all out of control, he doesn't know what he's doing, I better handle it? Nope. Pretty sure he's got a firm grasp on what's going on. So that's what I wanted to bring to you guys today. You know what? Sometimes we think we know what's going on, we think we have a good beat on things, but God ultimately is the one that has a handle on everything, and all we have to do is trust. I know my kids, there's been many times when I can see something's about to happen to them, or I know it's going to happen due to the experience I have, and I'll say to them, no, you really don't want to be doing that, because you're either going to get hurt or it's not going to end the way that you want. And they think I don't know what I'm talking about, and they do it, and they end up getting hurt, or it doesn't end up the way they think. I knew it was going to happen. I tell them, but they don't listen to me. I think God has a similar thing when it comes to us. He tells us what's going to happen, but sometimes we just don't want to listen, or we don't want to believe him, or we think that we know better. That's kind of foolish, don't you think? Anyway, I wanted to let you guys know, if you are feeling like that, that you're feeling that things are out of control, please put your faith in God, trust in him. Believe me, he is doing what's best for us, even if we don't see it all the time. All right, hope you have a good weekend. If you have any questions, just leave a comment down below, or even if a comment, or if you have something that you want to say, just leave it down there. Hope to see you again next week. Have a good, safe weekend. Talk to you later.